Hello, this is Igoro, host of the Igoro Show, and you are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. So keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Hey, welcome to the Steve and Crypto Show, presented by thestevestrout.com. I'm Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo. We are at episode 96. And as always, we appreciate everybody who is tuning in and listening. Wherever you are, we thank you. We appreciate your help. We appreciate your support. Everything you do to keep this show going, we really, really do truly appreciate it. Because if you're not listening, then it's just Steve and I babbling back and forth. So we truly appreciate your support. And I know that you guys do support us in more ways than one. And one way to do that is by going to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/SteveCrypto. And of course, we have a bunch of content over there that you get first before anybody else. Eventually, we end up putting it out for everyone else to check out, but it comes to you guys first. And there might be a few things that are exclusive there as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not going to ramble about what there is. You can just go check it out. Again, patreon.com/SteveCrypto. Go become a member. And if you want to check us out on social medias and follow everything that we have going on through there, you can follow Steve at the Steve Strout, and you can follow me at CryptoZoo88. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all that. We also have a Facebook group that we really encourage all of you to be a part of. You can post about like maybe a comic that you're working on or album that you are finishing up, or if you're involved in a movie or whatever it is. If it's something that's creative and you think, the pop culture, nerdy horror podcast people might be into that, then throw it in the chat or throw it in the group. And we'd love to see it.
Or if it don't fit, try to throw it in there anyways, and we'll just delete
it. Yeah.
But it don't hurt to try.
Yeah, seriously. Throw it out there. Try. Let's see what you're working on. And you can just find that by looking up the Steve and Crypto Show podcast.
Heck yeah. And of course, leave us reviews. If you could leave reviews on whatever podcast app you use, review the show, rate the show. It definitely helps us be seen, be heard. And what else we got? We have a Buy Me a Coffee page where you could go, and it's basically like tipping us. You could throw a few bucks. You could throw $1,000. I don't care. It all helps. Whatever you throw in there helps. It's buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto. And then we have our amazing merch. And I think it's a good time of year to have some of the Steve and Crypto merch with Halloween coming, because, our spooky vibes and our logo and stuff would be a perfect time to wear a Steve and Crypto shirt when you take your kids out trick-or-treating. I'm sure Crypto will be wearing his when we do. They're bringing back the fucking downtown trick-or-treating in Port Townsend, which is awesome.
That's right. I will definitely be wearing mine.
What else? Before we get into the episode, I just want to dedicate this episode to Angela Lansbury, who passed away today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's Tuesday recording. I thought she was gonna live forever. I thought she already had lived forever, but
yeah,
she passed away today. She was in a ton of things. I just remember watching Murder, She Wrote, like with my parents when I was a little kid. But those are all ways to support us, and other ways you can come to some of these events that we are taking part in. What's the next thing we got going? We're going to be guests at the Paulsville Film Festival.
That's right. That's going to be this weekend. We will be there. Well, the festival itself is the 14th through the 16th. And that's this coming weekend. But Steve and I will be there on the 15th. We'll be there as part of the horror block which is from 6 to 10 in downtown Paulsbo. There's movies playing all over the place. Just go to paulsbofilmfestival.com to get all the information. You can get your tickets that way. Just make sure you come check it out, get some popcorn, walk around, mingle with other people that love movies as much as you do.
Yeah, come on out. It's if you're in the Northwest or Washington, head to little old Paulsbo, especially on the 15th. We'll be there. It's going to be a good night of some great independent horror short films. A couple of the filmmakers sent me some press stuff for their films and a lot of still shots and reviews and stuff. And it sounds like some really good stuff. So I'm excited about it. So we got that on October 15th. And the next thing after that is Grit City Comic Con in Tacoma, Washington. We're guests there. We'll be right.
We were invited last year. You know, yeah. They pretty much penciled us in for this year. So
yes, sir.
We've been waiting. It's been a long time coming.
When you show up, if you show up in Tacoma, that's October 22nd. If you show up, once you get in that lobby, you're gonna see our fucking beautiful mugs first thing you're gonna see. So make sure you come ready. We're gonna bring merch. We're gonna bring prizes. We're gonna do some trivia. So you're gonna come and say hi. And if you want to do some trivia, we'll do trivia. Maybe we'll give you a little something. And if you want to, we'll throw your name in a hat and have you swing back later on in the day. And we're going to draw some names and give away some cool little prize packs. So, yeah, Northwest friends, come to the Tacoma. I almost called it the old name, the Jet City. It's the Grit City Comic Con at the Tacoma Convention Center, October 22nd. And Crypto just booked a couple new events too.
Yeah,
should both be at the Olympic Collectible Expo. What's the details on that?
So that is going to be November 5th in Silverdale, Washington, at the Silverdale Mall. The OCE, Olympic Collectible Expo. I believe it starts at like 10 a.m. I think it's from like 10 to 5, something like that. You can look it up on Facebook, I believe. There's probably a page for it or group or something. It's basically kind of like a little mini convention. So there's vendors of all types, you know, comic books, there's art prints, collectibles, toys, all kinds of things. And your third favorite podcast will be there. And your third favorite podcast will be there. You know, we were there last year doing some live recording. We'll probably be doing the same thing this time if we're both there. You know, and even if we don't end up doing the recording, it'll be cool just to be there hanging out with people and talking and chatting and hanging out with all of you guys that are listening. We hope to see you.
Absolutely. And then you also, one that unfortunately I'm probably not going to make is the Unlock the Con. Our friends over at Unlock the Con are doing their pop culture celebration.
Yeah, that's going to be out in Auburn, out at the what was once known as the Super Mall is now the Auburn Outlet Collection, I believe. So head out that way December 10th and 11th. I'm going to be there both days. And it's like a big winter pop culture event. There's going to be guests. I know one of the guests so far is someone who has done voices on the Pokemon animated series. And there are more guests to be announced. So just go on Facebook, follow Unlock the Con, check out their page. They have all kinds of guests. I mean, even just besides this event, they always have something going on. And their new location in the mall is really cool. I went in there about a month ago and it was really neat. We'll definitely discuss it more once we get more details. Yep.
Once we'll let you know
some of the guests. Yeah. We'll let you know more about the guests and who's coming and all that. But honestly, if you are interested in maybe being a part of the event, you can also contact Unlock the Con about maybe getting a table space. So just whether you want to attend just to come and buy toys and comics and collectibles, or if you want to be a part of it yourself, check out Unlock the Con on Facebook, and you can find more information there.
Heck yeah, it sounds like a blast. Maybe I'll make it. We'll see. But either way, Steven Crypto Show will be represented there in some way,
That's
shape,
right.
or form.
Yep.
So like we've been doing, we've been talking about prepping for the Halloween episode and stuff. So there's a lot more interview segments and everything on the show lately, which we enjoy doing. And the break has been kind of good, being you guys heard me bitching about being sick or this and that. So it's given me time to kind of recover and get my stamina back. But we actually have 2 little fun segments this week. So first, we're going to jump right in. Our friend Jack from Stapled Spine Fanzine has another comic roundup for us, but he gave it a little different twist this month. So you guys are going to dig it. Check it out.
Good evening, my victims. It is I, Malvolia, the Queen of Screams. You can see all my latest episodes on YouTube. And now you're listening to The Steve and Crypto Show.
Hello from Oregon. It's time for Stapled Spine Fanzine's Horror Comic Roundup. This is Jack Rudo, and this time I'm not bringing you a review of upcoming horror comics. I'm going to talk to you about classic horror comics from the Marvel Bronze Age of comics. The Bronze Age is from the 70s all through up the first quarter of the 80s, pretty much is regarded. And I want to tell you about why we have such comic book characters as Werewolf by Night, Man-Thing, Son of Satan, Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, etc. We're going to start in 1970. Stan Lee, editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, was approached by the U.S. Department of Health, and they wanted Stan to put out a comic that dealt with the negative and terrible effects of drug use. And he was going to do that in his biggest title he had on at the time, which was Spider-Man. And Amazing Spider-Man 96 through 98, they had planned out to do this story, and it actually went to the Comics Code established in the 50s, and it was turned down because of the very story that the Department of Health had requested. So obviously they had to relax their hold there and let them do the story that they asked them to do. And in doing that, it kind of loosened the grip or the door on the tomb, and it opened up space for like the zombie can now be Zumbeve, which is this, a Haitian form of zombie, and monsters have to be classic from classic literature like Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and the such. But what this led us to is Amazing Spider-Man 101. Now, a lot of people say Amazing Spider-Man 101 is with great power comes great responsibility. And I say, oh no, my brother, Amazing Spider-Man 101 is a monster called Morbius. Morbius was a living vampire. He was a living, scientifically altered man made into a vampire. Well, now that kind of got things rolling and had a huge reader response. And from there, we thought, well, what other monsters can we, blow the cobwebs off of? And they tried with their Tower of Shadows and a Chamber of Darkness in the very early, like 71 and 72, respectively. And that did really well. But by late 71, they had come up with in their comic book line Marvel Spotlight, which was a tryout book. Every month they try out new things. And Marvel Spotlight #2 gave us Werewolf by Night. This was our first appearance of Jack Russell, our titular Disney Plus star. And it was such a huge response that it was just a couple issues later, there was Marvel Spotlight 2, 3, and 4 were all our werewolf buddy. And then he got his own title, Werewolf by Night. And Jack Russell was at it full time. Jack Russell would tangle with the likes of Spider-Man and Tatterdemalion and then even Dracula. But before that happened, Tomb of Dracula sprung up just a few months later. with the success of Werewolf by Night. Tomb of Dracula ran for 70 issues and is widely considered the greatest Bronze Era horror comic. Now, issue 7 is when we actually get Marv Wolfman writing this great title. Gene Colan drawing, his art with his Dracula taking inspiration from the late, great Jack Palance. This comic book gave us Blade, a man, Eric Brooks, the greatest vampire hunter ever. Dracula went on and sprung out and was mixed in with appearing in X-Men comics and just really doing the superhero from the tomb kind of anti-hero. But now let's go back to Marvel Spotlight number 5. Werewolf by Night's gone. What do? Well, let's bring in the most supernatural superhero of all. Ghost Rider. Is he alive or is he dead? Johnny Blaze, stunt rider, is the Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider was there and he showed up in the spotlight and boom, they had another hit. Ghost Rider later came out with his own title, Ghost Rider, also appearing in Marvel Team Up and spilling over into other titles. Now we tried and we went back to the primordial ooze literally with Khazar, Land of the Hidden Jungle. In Khazar number 13, we got the Mark of the Man Thing, Ted Sallis. Ted, such a beautiful name. Man Thing appeared in Khazar, and he also then later got his own shot in a tryout comic called Adventure into Fear. Adventure into Fear would later bring on a full solo run for Morbius. Now, we tried a bunch of other anthologies at this time. We had Journey into Mystery, Chamber of Chills, Supernatural Thrillers. And these were all good and fine, and most of them had reprints from the 50s or the late 60s. But it was time to try another one. We had Werewolf by Night was a hit. We had Tomb of Dracula was a hit. And then Ghost Rider. Well, who should get the next turn? The Monster of Frankenstein, of course. Monster of Frankenstein only ran for 18 issues, I believe, but it was fantastic even, with appearances by Dracula and the Werewolf by Night also showing up to fight our poor monster that didn't want the world he was forced to live in. We then would have so many anthologies creeping up and around. We had Vault of Evil, Uncanny Tales, Beware, Dead of Night, Crypt of Shadows. Marvel was going crazy in 1974 with horror titles, with I believe 19 different comic books being published, 19 different titles published that year. At the same time, we also switched up to the magazine size. We had full black and white magazines, which to this date, if you can find, are amazing for the price, cover price versus amount of story and monster bang for the buck. That you can't beat an old 70s black and white comic book monster magazine. We had such things as Tales of the Zombie, Simon Garth the Zombie, Monsters Unleashed, Dracula Lives. And we had The Haunt of Horror with The Devil Hunter. Legion of Monsters came out with one issue that was supposed to be an ongoing thing, and we had Dracula with a monster, Frankenstein's monster, and Manphibian, truly a precursor to the Monster Squad. If you ever see Legion of Monsters #1 from September of 1975, you'll know what I mean. In 73, we had Supernatural Thrillers 5, which gave us The Living Mummy. The Living Mummy, again, was a really out of place for any other superhero comic, but in the 70s, horror sold, and that's what we had there with The Living Mummy. Fantastic books if you can get them, anything with The Living Mummy. Coming up from Strange Tales was Brother Voodoo. Brother Voodoo was a fantastic opening tale from the Haitian mythos of voodoo and two brothers, Jericho Drum and his deceased brother's spirit who lived within him together, becoming the Brother Voodoo. Oh, Man-Wolf was a thing. Man-Wolf happened. Spider-Man, J. Jonah Jameson's son. He was there and fought and became a star god. Truly a wonderful tale if you could track down the random issues. Son of Satan, literally Satan's son, had his own comic in the 70s. The giant pentagram on his chest and wonderful ginger pointed hair horns. You can't go wrong with the Son of Satan. Yes, I'll tell you, this era here was something truly near and dear to my heart. Starting in about 71, going all the way to 76, Bronze Age Marvel horror, 20 and 25-cent comics are absolutely some of the greatest things that you could find for me, for a horror collector today. The paper is falling apart. It smells like must. The colors bleed. And it's just one of the most treasured things that I have in my collection. That's all I have to share with you this week, guys. I know it's spooky season and we're all getting excited, and it's going to be here soon. I just really wanted to write a little love letter to my favorite little corner and pocket of the comic world. Well, thanks for listening again, gang. This has been Jack Rudo with Stapled Spine Fanzine. You can find us online at stapledspine.com and on the usual socials. Stapled Spine Fanzine.
Hey there, everybody. My name's Cortland.
And I'm Brandon.
And this is the Up All Night Horror Anthology Podcast, where we cover every horror anthology show that we can get our hands on.
We've already reviewed all of Are You Afraid of the Dark? We've set our sights on Goosebumps next.
Do you love to laugh at amazing 90s Canadian horror shows?
Then we've got the perfect podcast for you.
So join us every Tuesday for new episodes to keep you up all night.
Hey, this is Ace Vaughn Johnson from LA Guns, and you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show.
Hey, we are back on the Steve and Crypto Show, and we are getting excited and ramped up for our Halloween special coming up real soon. And one way that I know I'm doing that is by trying to, dip my toe in the festive waters a little bit more. And like, I know it's corny to drink the whole pumpkin spice latte thing and all that, but I've been drinking pumpkin stuff here and there. It's not all good, but some of it is. And one thing that I'm after right now is that Elysian Chucky beer. It's like a cranberry pumpkin beer. And I've actually, stopped into 6 to 8 different stores while delivering my own beer. And I've asked about it, and they either never got it, or places like Total Wine and Bevmo had it, like 2 weeks ago. Apparently it's been out for a little while now. It came out before the new season debuted. I thought it came out around the same time, and they sold out like very quickly. So that tells me either it's very good beer or they just like who's on the can. And I'm fine with either one, but I'm after it. So if anybody listening out there has seen it somewhere, tell me where it is. Or if you're feeling generous, you can send a can or two my way, and I'd be very happy.
Even if you already drank it, send him like the empty thing so he can like display it, because it looks really cool.
Seriously. Yeah.
There's a company out in Indiana that was doing something like that with this horror host, like a legendary horror host named Sammy Terry. And they made a really cool bottle, and they told me they were going to send me some, but they never did. I wanted an empty bottle for, my horror host collection and stuff. I'll find one someday, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, send him some Chucky beer, man.
I'm going to get it eventually. I'm going to find it.
Maybe we'll contact Elysian and they'll hook you up.
They made a funny little 2-minute trailer of like a Chucky doll running around in the brewery, right, while they're making their beer, and then like he opens up the tank and dives in or whatever. I mean, it was a little corny, but it was kind of funny, just getting into the spirit of the beer.
The spirit, yeah. Wine and spirits. Well, yeah, it's time for getting in some kind of spirit, isn't it, with Halloween? And we keep talking about the Halloween stuff, the Halloween episode, which we are working on and putting together. If you follow us on the social medias, we announced a couple segments and guests that are going to be on the show so far. We announced that we are going to be having some music from the Seattle-based surf rock band called the Destroyers. Like, they're cool. Their album art is super cool. I love their music, and they're all like horror and sci-fi themed song titles and stuff. So it's pretty cool. It'll be fitting. Good Halloween music. We're gonna run a couple of their songs during the episode. So when you're listening to the Halloween episode and it goes into a full song in the middle of it, don't be alarmed. Just rock the fuck out and enjoy it, and go grab yourself a can of Chucky beer and enjoy it. So the Halloween episode, we announced that, and just the other day we announced that our friend Jade the Libra, the YouTube queen of Halloween, she's back with her husband Dallas. They came to talk some Halloween stuff, and we talked about Halloween candy and costumes and all kinds of fun stuff. Like, who better to talk about Halloween with than one of the most popular friggin' Halloween YouTubers? So they are back, and I'd like to do the honors of announcing our next guest of honor for the Halloween episode.
Yeah, I was gonna segue because that's what we do here. Speaking of talking about Halloween and talking about monsters, let's talk about monsters. Let's talk about a specific one. Let's talk about Eddie Munster. We have the Butch Patrick as one of our guests for the Halloween special. So just stay tuned. It's coming your way. Now we've got it in the can, so we can talk about it now. We just want to put it out there, let you guys know. And if you have any friends that are Munsters fans, or if they know who Jade the Libra is, you should definitely tell them that she's going to be on. Even if they don't, if you just have a friend that's into Halloween, into collecting and things like that, send them our way. Tell them to check it out. If they have some time to listen for a little while, I mean, I think it's going to be worth your time.
It's going to be good. It's going to be a supersized episode for sure.
The last Halloween special we did was pretty damn good. I think this one's going to be just as good.
Yes, sirree. Sure is. Did mention earlier that we have had the couple segments on this episode. We did have the Stapled Spine segment. Thanks again to Jack. And now we are keeping our horror host love going, because it's been a little while since we had a horror host on there. So we have the host of After Hours Cinema, Lee Turner. He's been doing that for a while now. And he's also the driving force behind Fearflix, the streaming channel on Roku, which you've heard their ads and stuff on our show. It's a really cool channel dedicated to indie horror. There are some classics and stuff on there, but Lee and I talked about it quite a bit. So check out my chat with the host of After Hours Cinema, Lee Turner. Hey, we are on the Steven Crypto Show with a special guest. We're keeping our love for horror host series going, and we have Lee Turner, who is the host of After Hours Cinema. They have a YouTube channel. They pop up on the Monster channel, which we always promote here, and they are also syndicated around the country. So let's just jump right in. How you doing today, Lee?
Doing well. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time. Let's jump in and tell people the history of After Hours Cinema.
The history of After Hours Cinema is a very unique one. I'm a small town attorney in a little town called Leakesville, Mississippi, which is a wide spot in the road that very few people know about. I had a gentleman contact me about running a commercial on his wrestling promotion called Diamond Championship Wrestling on WGUD TV, which is a TV station in Pascagoula. I was kind of taken aback at how inexpensive this supposed commercial was. I said, what the heck? So I ran a commercial on Diamond Championship Wrestling, got to know the guys at WGUD, always been a fan of horror hosting. They were kind of looking for a late night movie show. I said, guys, I can't dress up in a costume or personality as an attorney, but I'm more of a horror historian, diehard fan, have been my whole life. And, I'm born out of running that commercial in an indie wrestling promotion. After Hour Cinema was born, and it has taken off far beyond my wildest dreams. We're on 3 broadcast stations, probably about 25 community channels through PEG Media syndication on, air sometimes on the Monster Channel. Those guys are great. Hats off to Halloween Jack, Bone Jangler. Also on Betamax TV. Again, just can't thank Uncle Pete enough for those opportunities. Again, it's exceeded all expectations. Kind of reignited I already had a love for horror. It just deepened it. So,
Right.
But from wrestling to horror.
That's funny. When I first started doing like online press and media stuff, my first venture into that was wrestling stuff.
There does seem to be it's so funny you mentioned that, Steve. There does seem to be a connection, because there's certainly a lot of spillover fans and stuff. When you go to conventions, there's typically, especially some wrestling legends. And I guess, I don't know if it's because of the kayfabe nature of wrestling, if that lends itself to, especially the indie horror realm, but there's certainly a definite bleed over in the fan base.
Definitely, for sure. What was the first movie you guys ran on After Hour Cinema? You recall?
The first movie, I remember it because we struggled. That was what we called the pre-teleprompter days. So I was trying to memorize the script, and I had went off and bought a couple of wing back chairs. Was really not that familiar with green screen technology. Had no idea how the guy at the station. Again, I got to give a hats off to Tim Wall and Hunter Bickham. They're amazing directors, amazing cinematographers and editors, and they make the show look great. We debuted actually it was a Friday the 13th, about 4 years ago in mid-July of 2018. And again, it has just exceeded expectations, but a long way away to answer your question was House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price. I said, you can't go wrong with Vincent Price. So, classic black and white, had some old dark house elements to it. And again, it was, directed by the great William Castle. So again, how can you go wrong?
Man, that's definitely a classic. It's one I probably watch that movie at least once a year.
I think it was Elvira that said it was one of her favorite horror films of all time growing up. And hey, if it's good enough for Elvira, it's definitely good enough for After Hours.
Yeah. I think that's one of those staples that just about every host has done. Yeah, that and Night of the Living Dead.
Exactly. It's what I call one of the crown jewels of the public domain canon. So.
That's 100%. 100%. If there's a movie, public domain or not, that you would love to host, what would it be?
Public domain. There's still a few public domains that I have not hosted yet, but if I could host any horror film of all time, it would have to be The Exorcist. Obviously it's not public domain. It would be extremely hard to license that, but again, it's one of my favorite films. Just the fact that you have this young 13-year-old girl acting this demonic and the horror that surrounds that. It would just be an amazing film to host. I was in Washington, D.C. last year for an extended amount of time. I went to the famous Exorcist steps in Georgetown part of Washington, D.C. and just walked around. They had a plaque and all these tourists around. The film has just resonated with so many fans, almost 50 years now.
Yeah, what was that? 73?
I think it was a little later than that. I want to say it was about 76, 77, if I remember. It was a little later in the 70s. So
a few years before my time, but it was definitely a classic.
Oh my goodness. What a performance by everyone involved. Good God. It's just, just amazing performances.
So do you plan to keep After Hours Cinema going indefinitely, or?
Yeah, definitely. We're working on a lot of special projects. Like I said, we're a host. We've also shown some great indie films. We've shown some stuff by Dustin Ferguson, who's this great prolific indie horror director. We've also shown some local. We had a film called Interfere that was written, produced, and directed by Tim Wall with the help of Hunter Bickham at the WGUD station. We've shown that on After Hours Cinema. We've also had people send us independent films to air. So we've kind of definitely mixed it up. We've also guest hosted along with the great Pamela Sudge, who's an amazing indie horror actress. I don't know if you're familiar with Wave movies, kind of a Wave legend of kind of that New Jersey tri-state area. We hosted her independent film called Track that she wrote and directed. Again, top-notch indie horror, or maybe an indie horror thriller, if you want to call it that, to be more accurate.
See, I noticed you do a lot of things with bringing on indie creators and stuff, showing their films, and a lot of other horror hosts too. I know you've co-hosted shows with some great.
We're definitely, I certainly like to try to get the other host community involved. I mean, we just recently there's a horror host who's been very helpful to me, Les Robb with the Angry Brothers. We had get well shout outs from the great, legendary Penny Dreadful. We had Dale, who has a horror host show called Uncle Edward. We've brought in horror hosts around. Last year during October, we had fellow hosts send in stuff. We've even had a shout out, on one of our great episodes. We did a Dungeness Harrow special episode, and we had Ivana Cadaver with Macabre Theater do a great guest spot for us. So.
She's a good friend of mine. She's cool.
Yeah, she is.
Very supportive too. So what's you mentioned before we got going here that you have some events coming up?
Yeah, we've got a couple of events. We've got a premiere. There's actually a movie called Interfere the Next Wave that After Hours Cinema is going to kind of go to the red carpet with actress Sherry Davis, Erica Rao. There's also actress Elise Costin, who is Mistress Sophia on some of the newer episodes of After Hours Cinema. I'm pretty sure Rachel Waits will be there. So that's going to be this Sunday. It's going to be a great event. We're going to get some great photos and get some great clips that we're going to have on future episodes. But later on in the month, one of the things I'm most proud of, we're going to After Hours Cinema and Fearflix, which we'll probably get to in a little bit. We're going to attend the Halloween Hotness charity event in Los Angeles, California, on Hollywood Boulevard at the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. It's a great charity fundraiser. I mean, I don't know, there's no better charity in my opinion than St. Jude's. It's also a lot of people come in costumed, a lot of horror personalities, both 80s icons and 90s icons, and a lot of indie people. It's turned into kind of what I would call an indie horror charity event, for lack of a better word. But a guy named Brian runs that. He does a phenomenal job with it. It's a great venue, and again, it's a great event. I mean, how can you not like networking, but more importantly, supporting St. Jude's charity at the same time? So just a worthy cause.
It's definitely a great cause.
We also went out to Fresno recently too and worked with some Fresno filmmakers, Michael Rodriguez, on a film called Film Fiend, which is basically it's basically centered on a horror host that uses the amazingly talented actress and talk show host Sparkle Sugin, who does a phenomenal job in the film.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. She's definitely another hard worker out there. I see her popping up all over social media.
Yeah, she's great. Very talented, very multifaceted as well. So
right. So you did mention Fearflix. How did that whole situation get going?
A lot of Fearflix was kind of born out of people sending us their indie horror trailers to show during. One of the things I'm kind of proud of on After Hours Cinema, Hunter Bickham does a great job of making these custom intermission segments, mixing the best of like retro trailers and old commercials and old bumpers with indie horror trailers. And I said, I really wish we had some kind of venue or some kind of avenue to show some of these indie horror films that have kind of, they're no longer on Amazon Prime. They may be, I hate to say, they might be kind of played out on Tubi. They've done some festival and they're just kind of out there kind of lingering. And one of the things special that we'll kind of do a new intermission for it, or we'll get a talent or get the director to send us some trivia about it. We try to breathe new life into some of these indie films. We've really done a great job of bringing what I would call some of the very early shot on video indie horror films from the early 2000s, mid 2005, 2006, kind of giving them a platform now, because that was kind of the pre-streaming days, kind of putting them in the streaming universe, so to speak. Also, I think we're the only streaming platform that has any Wave movies that are directed by Gary Whitson, that has the great Tina Krause, Pamela Sudge, Debbie D, Laura Giglio. And if you're not familiar with Wave, there's a great documentary called Mail Order Murder, the story of Wave movies. And you can watch it on Tubi. I highly recommend it. It's some of the most bizarre yet genuinely entertaining indie horror films that you can find are Wave movies. Again, just I can't brag. And again, the actresses, I mean, they all do a great job. I mean, they're fun. I mean, they're escapism type horror films.
Right. I think that's what horror is for anyways, just to escape.
I agree with you 100%.
Escape
on that.
all the bullshit in life, pretty much.
Yeah, I try to say, let's don't take the serious. Let's don't take the fun. Let's don't take it so serious that we're taking the fun out of it. So
exactly. So so pretty much getting all these horror films and trailers and stuff kind of just snowballed into now you have the Fearflix.
Yeah, our subscriber base is really going. I'm really proud of it. Like I said, we try to breathe new life into films. I mean, every once in a while we will debut a certain film. We will be the initial platform that it was on. So, but primarily we're taking, slightly older films and trying to breathe new life into them. But it's another one of those things that has grown, way past our expectations. Tim Wall and Hunter Bickham have done a phenomenal job on getting Fearflix off the ground and kind of working with After Hours Cinema to make it what I would call a marquee indie horror streaming channel. We have some classics as well, but it's overwhelmingly indie horror. And I think we've got one of the things we pride ourselves, we got some titles that are not available anywhere else. So to kind of differentiate ourselves.
Pretty exclusive stuff. I like that. And then, of course, you guys do run After Hours Cinema on there, and you have a couple other shows hosted by a good cast.
Yeah, we've got Lone Star Horrors, which is a hosted horror show, basically centered on horror and science fiction films that were shot in Texas or majority shot in Texas. That's hosted by Texas native Sherry Davis. Then we have another show called 70s Grind Out, where we take 70s film, some that are licensed, but some that are public domain, and that's hosted by Pamela Such and Monica Hayes. They're a dynamic duo, as I call them. They have some host segments, and then we recut old commercials. And one of the things that we do, we'll take an old film too, and we'll actually recut it, use kind of modern editing technology and sound effects to kind of improve the film. Sorry to any public domain purist out there, but we try to make it a little better. So, I mean, one of the films that we just did is we did a 50th anniversary of Legacy of Blood, or some people's alternate I Will to Die. And then we had a host, Elise Costin, actually shoot some new footage for the movie, and she did a phenomenal job. And everybody that's watched it, like, this is so much better than the original, because that little couple minutes of footage really tied it together. And again, since we're doing all this commentary and putting trailers in, there's no need to pad some of these movies out. Some of these older films, they had to be padded out to 90 minutes back in the day. So when you can kind of cut the fluff out, fix the pacing, it just improves it right there a lot of times. So
nice. So yeah, you did mention a good cast. A lot of those names people here on the Steve and Crypto Show. We like to run.
Oh yeah, I know Elise Costin again.
Elise. I run hers regularly.
And I think Rachel Waits has even sent in some promos and bumpers. And Sherry Davis, another person I want to mention, she has a great show on Fearflix, and she actually sometimes substitutes on After Hours Cinema, is Queen Malvolia, actress Jennifer Nangle, super talented. Can't say enough amazing things about her. She does a great job, has a true love for horror.
She's been on the show too.
I've listened to those episodes. Again, she's a great
good one. She's awesome.
I had a unique experience when we were filming some episodes for Gothic Horrors and Lone Star Horrors about a year ago. About this time last year, they were trapped at my home in Mississippi because there was a hurricane out in the Gulf that just lingered there for 3 or 4 days, and there was no flying out of New Orleans or Mobile. So we're just kind of marooned, but what a great place to be marooned with a couple horror hosts. So, hey, no complaints here. So,
yeah, that's a definitely interesting story, though. Like, I remember the time we were trapped from the storm, hanging out with a bunch of horror hosts, That sounds like a good weekend to me for sure.
Yeah. So possible movie idea there as well. So
there you go. There you go. I mean, we'll see it on Fearflix in a couple of years, right?
Hey, I like the way you think. So,
so what's next with what's anything coming down the pipeline for After Hours or Fearflix?
Absolutely. I'm working with Hunter Bickham and Erica Rao. We're going to. There's a lot of public domain films that are having 50th anniversaries this year. Silent Night, Bloody Night, and Idaho Transfer. We're going to do some recutting, some retooling, some possible improvements, and some pacing things, and really kind of make some great special editions, some 50th anniversary editions. We did that previously. We actually just did one, shot it this week, and hopefully have it out this Friday, which is almost close to the true 60th anniversary of the first showing of Carnival of Souls, which is obviously one of the greatest public domain films ever. We've got some great bits in there, some great commentary, some great trivia. It's going to be a top-notch episode. But Silent Night, Bloody Night, we're going to really try to do a Christmas event. We're looking at possibly hosting a live event, renting an old theater, doing a live show, or a live screening with some audience Q&A and trivia, give away some after-hour cinema merch, and just have a good time and really connect with, fans and viewers and everything. So.
Like that. You mentioned merch. You guys just launched a merch store, didn't you?
Yeah, we actually just started. We are brand new to the merch game. We've got a Redbubble store. I'll certainly send you the links. It's going pretty well. Like I said, it was strange. I was wearing an After Hour Cinema t-shirt. I went to the Colorado Festival of Horror, and we were on one station in Colorado because of some of the platforms that were on. There were a lot of people who recognized After Hour Cinema, and had a few people who even sold a few DVDs, did a couple of autographs, and that was kind of a first because of COVID the past couple of years. We were really not doing any horror conventions or anything. So trying to get back into that, kind of introducing that element, and hopefully bringing on some cosplayers and doing some convention clips and stuff like that again, to really just kind of make these marquee episodes. I just don't ever want to just record an intro and an outro and give a few facts about a movie. I want to try to make it an experience for the viewer.
Right. Got to definitely keep it unique to keep them interested, because
we typically air every Friday on Ocean 7 TV, which is a broadcast station out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and Fox 23 in Hattiesburg. And then there's a week delay, and then it also runs in Clarksville, Tennessee, which is kind of in middle Tennessee. I guess it would be, that market would probably be the true the true most western fringe of like metropolitan Nashville. Probably that would be kind of extreme in that kind of general area. And then we syndicate from there. We do put it up on YouTube primarily just for simulcast for people who don't live anywhere outside the area. We have some great, what I call loyal fans that join the simulcast. We have Mike Govich, Charles Hallowell, we have Elizabeth, we have Uncle Edward, and they just had the best time, kind of riffing on the movies, but not really. I mean, one thing about myself, obviously I don't dress up any kind of character, but rarely if ever does After Hour Cinema anyone ever riff on the movies. We don't. Again, we kind of, no matter how bad the movie is, we understood that was somebody's passion project, and somebody put their hard work and time in it. And it's, now again, if they make it intentionally over the top and intentionally cheesy, yeah, we're gonna rib it a little bit. For the most part, we're not movie riffers at all. So
right. I always describe it like it's somebody's work. It's like their baby, and you wouldn't go up and just tell somebody their baby's ugly. So, why would you go crap on their movie?
Some of the things better left unsaid.
Even if they are, just don't watch it. Don't look at the baby. Just, if you don't like it, just let it go. No point in wasting your energy being a jerk. Just move on. There's a million other pieces of entertainment out there to quench your thirst.
Yeah, and I do. There is a little bit of toxic fandom out there, and we do our best to ignore that. So
yeah, there's definitely a little bit. Yeah,
I'm probably being too kind by saying a little bit. Probably a lot.
That's cool. But social media, you got a presence on there for Fearflix
Yeah,
and for
we're
After Hour Cinema.
we're pretty active on Instagram, and that's just after hours _hours _cinema on Instagram. Had a very large Facebook presence, but unfortunately, we were the victim of a hacking incident. We're slowly trying to rebuild our Facebook presence. We used to do a little bit of simulcasting of certain episodes on Facebook, and after the hack, it's just been one thing after the other. We are slowly rebuilding that on Twitter as well, but Instagram and Twitter is where we certainly have the most followers and the most engagement, but hoping Facebook kind of we rebuild that audience.
Right. You guys should come and run an episode in our group sometime, in the Stephen Crypto
absolutely.
Show group. That'd be kind of cool.
What's the name of the group?
It's the Stephen Crypto Show podcast. We have a group for the podcast, so
absolutely,
that'd be fun. We'll promote a little thing, and we'll
absolutely. I'd love to send you some episodes. We'll definitely touch base on that.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. So Instagram probably the best place to find Fearflix and After Hours.
Twitter. Yeah, Instagram or Twitter, but we're certainly on Facebook, just After Hour Cinema. I mean, you can definitely, but again, we just have a lot more followers on Instagram and Twitter, so it's just probably a little more content on there.
I feel like those are the better platforms for horror, just because horror is very visual, and Instagram it drives on pictures. So we could
absolutely
do that. And then Twitter, you could be more interactive.
I would say that we get a lot more fan interaction on Twitter. Certain posts, it's amazing the post that you think you're going to get a lot of likes and a lot of comments. You don't get that many, but just some random one you put up, you get a ton of stuff. Same thing on Instagram. You're like, oh my God, this is a great post. A lot of content on here. It's cool looking, and then it's like, we got a few things, and then we put up some random thing, and and then it starts blowing up. I'm like, what in the world's going on? So,
but we'll take it.
Absolutely,
take it when we can get it.
I'm by no means a social media guru, but we certainly have that kind of presence. So.
For sure. Anything else you want to add here and promote or mention?
No, like I said, we are looking at kind of launching a Fearflix kind of companion podcast, to kind of a very myself and Hunter Bickham just kind of highlighting maybe a weekly, not a super long podcast, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, just kind of highlighting some of the new titles that are added for the week, and maybe talk a little bit about some of the talent that's in some of those films, just to kind of, to really give these films the spotlight and the recognition they deserve. But other than that, we've got, they just, some of the After Hour Cinema team, Elise Costin, Erica Rao, and some others, they had they just filmed a movie, down here called, this is different from Interfere, one called The Stokes River Haunting, that is going to be a great throwback film. Has Tina Krause, has Jennifer Moriarty, has Ali Perez, again the aforementioned Elise Costin and Erica Rao. Just going to be directed by Hunter Bickham in his feature film debut, and it's going to bring a lot of old school elements with some new slasher elements. It's going to be a lot of atmosphere. Found some amazing locations. It's going to be kind of what I would call a Southern Gothic film in certain respects, with indie horror sensibilities.
Is there any kind of a time frame or plan or anything with that?
They actually just wrapped last week, so I'm not certain on it's about to start post-production on it. So hopefully sometime in the new year. So
right,
he's pretty quick in post.
So are we going to see it on Fearflix?
Absolutely, you'll see it on Fearflix. So,
yeah, well,
one other thing I'd like to promote, this, I believe it's going to be released this Friday. A lot of the After Hour Cinema gang makes an appearance in Dustin Ferguson's Don't Trick or Treat Alone, which has Brink Stevens in it. It's kind of a throwback film with a bunch of 80s homages in it, from what I can tell from the trailer and speaking with Dustin. Again, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think a lot of people will really enjoy that.
Yeah, I've heard a little buzz about that one, so that should be good. That guy is like prolific. He's constantly putting movies out, and they're decent movies. So it's like
he's Roger Corman, as I call it. So
there you go,
or Al Adams. You can definitely crank it out. So I admire. You got to admire the passion. So
now, if I'm not mistaken, I think is he the one that is just setting up a studio?
I think he's moving forward with that. I don't have a lot of biz on that or visibility on that, but I believe he is doing some type of studio. I think that's the long-term goal. So
that's awesome. That's really cool. Well, yeah, so we'll make sure to get a bunch of links and stuff up when we put the show out in the show notes so people could jump right in.
We need to get a Steve and Crypto shout out that we can air on After Hour Cinema as well. So we'd love to have you guys on. So you guys have been big supporters. So we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'd definitely be honored. Fearflix, quickly, what before we take off, what platforms?
Just go to the Roku channel streaming store and it's available. We don't do monthly subscriptions. We do a one-time annual fee. And again, just Fearflix and the Roku channel store. It's, when you break it down over the course of a whole year, it's pennies a day.
Yeah, I remember when I signed up, right when you guys launched, a year or 2 years ago, almost.
About 18 months ago.
Yeah. And I think it was under $10.
Yeah.
So
we've unfortunately, because of some hosting requirements and the amount of films that are in the catalog, we've had to go up slightly, but it's still the best bargain around, for an annual fee.
For sure. With the amount of, like you say, indie films, there's a bunch of classics, there's all the horror hosted stuff, which I love. It's worth it.
Well, I appreciate it.
Worth it.
Thank you so much.
Well, hey, Lee, thank you for hanging out for a few. Glad to finally get to chat with you.
Absolutely. Again, it's been an honor to be on here. If there's anything we can do to help each other out, we'll be glad to. Again, it's been a great experience. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Go check out Fearflix. Find After Hour Cinema if it's on a local channel, or go to the YouTube channel. And thanks again, Lee Turner, for hanging out.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Check out these shows available now on Fearflix.
And welcome to another collection of frightfully good films from Fearflix, Gothic Horrors, with me, your host, Malvolia, the Queen of Screams.
Hey, I'm Pamela Such. You know me from all the Wave movies. And here we are, we're going to play Curse of the Swamp Creature 2.
Hello guys, I'm Rachel Waits.
And I'm Elise Costin.
Welcome to Silent Screams.
I'm Pamela Such.
I'm Monica Hayes. Thank you for tuning in to 70s Grind Out on Fearflix.
Hey y'all, I'm Sherry Davis, your host for this wild and untamed collection of horror films from Fearflix. We wrangled up a selection of Texas horrors for this one. Welcome to Lone Star Horrors.
These shows, movies, and much more available now on Fearflix. Download it on your Roku channel store today.
I'm Mr. Lobo of Cinema Insomnia, and you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. Or are you?
Hey, we are back. Thanks again to Lee for hanging out, telling us the story of After Hour Cinema and Fearflix. Be sure to track those shows down. Track down Fearflix if you got a Roku. Check it out. It's super cheap and it's a really awesome service. And thanks again to Jack from Stapled Spine. Make sure you guys go to stapledspine.com and get some copies of that book. It's a good one. You guys will dig it if you're a horror fan, especially if you love comics. If you love horror comics, Stapled Spine's the way to go. And of course, Jack will be back next month. That whole segment from those guys is really growing on me. I'm digging it. Hopefully you guys are digging it too.
I know I am. I hope everybody listening is liking that.
I think Crypto Zoo has trivia duties this week.
I thought you were about to rhyme. Be like, Crypto Zoo has trivia for you.
No. It's trivia for everybody. For
you weren't about to be that lame. Okay.
No,
cool.
No, that's not that's your job.
Yeah, it's my job.
Your job is to do trivia this week and be lame.
Well, I'm
people
all out of
people
trivia.
are like, both you motherfuckers are lame every week.
All right. Well, let's stop being lame and let's give him some trivia. All right. In honor of Terrifier 2 being out right now and actually kicking ass in the theater too.
They extended the theater run. It done so well.
Congratulations to an indie film doing so well, an indie horror film doing so well in the theaters right now.
Art is going to go head to head with Michael Myers next weekend.
Isn't that interesting?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Who'd you put your money on?
I don't know. You're almost asking like who am I more of a fan of?
Well,
lately, I'm really liking Art the Clown.
Yeah,
he's cool. I like that he is in the comedic lane. I like people like Chucky, obviously, that are comedic and have personality. I'm not as crazy about the silent ones. Like I like Ghostface, Chucky, Freddy's okay, but I honestly haven't even watched all of the Freddy movies. But Art is cool because he is kind of riding the line of like, not quite Chucky and Freddy, not quite Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. He's kind of a little piece of a bunch of those guys, because
he's a creepy fucking clown on top of it.
Yeah, he's a creepy clown, but he's Silent Bob, and he's out there like clapping and being eccentric, but also being quiet.
And also sawing vaginas in half.
Yeah.
You got
God.
Watch out for steer clear of quiet clowns that saw vaginas.
I mean, he's
don't invite him to your fucking kid's birthday party.
I don't watch a ton of like independent horror films, just to be honest. But I don't think I've seen one as graphic as that in a while. At least the ones that I have seen haven't really touched what Terrifier is.
I haven't seen one that could potentially become iconic. You know what I mean? Art could become a horror icon if a couple more, if another good movie, if they make a part 3 and it really sticks like the first 2 have, I think he'll officially become. We'll see his merch at fucking Spared Halloween next year. How about that?
Yeah. Well, him and Sam both have kind of, I feel like they both become icons. They're right up there with Freddy and Jason and those guys.
I mean, they're like a second tier.
Yeah, but they're up there. I mean, they're still pretty popular.
But they can.
It's just gonna take some time.
They can almost be considered icons.
Yeah. Right now, they both only have 1 or 2 movies each. But we also just got the announcement about Trick or Treat 2. Being, I think it might be like in development right now.
But they've been talking about that one for a little while, I think.
Oh,
it's always hot and cold with all the horror franchise stuff. But
yeah. Anyway, let's circle back.
Trivia.
We're getting away here. And just before we get into the trivia, real quick, just because we haven't done much bullshitting lately. Megan trailer. I saw it today. It looks fucking awesome. Go watch it. Go check out the Megan trailer on YouTube. All right, back to the trivia. So, Art the Clown, most of you know him from Terrifier and now Terrifier 2. But he actually made his debut in a different film. What is the name of that film? What is the debut of Art the Clown? And it's not Terrifier. There's your clue.
That's a good clue, and that's a good trivia question. Now you guys know what to do. Hit us up with the answer, and we will send you some Stephen Crypto stickers and put you in a drawing for even cooler prizes. And then, of course, other ways to get cool prizes is show up to our events and see what's happening there. But I think
another way is if you're a Patreon, right? I believe we put some of those Patreon members in some of those prize drawings as well.
We do.
Yeah.
We always put them in the drawings. So yeah, I think this is a good point to wrap it up and get back to work on the big Halloween Spectacular, which so far features music from the Destroyers, features Jay DeLieber and Dallas, also known as the Shadow Figures. Find their music. And the one and only Butch Patrick, aka Eddie Munster, who also did some voice stuff in Rob Zombie's Monsters movie. So far it's shaping up to be a big one. And more announcements coming soon on social media, so make sure you're following us there. He's CryptoZoo88. I am the Steve Strout. That's on Instagram and Twitter. We're both on Facebook. Just find our names. His real name is Caleb Lowry. I'm Steve Strout. Surprise. You guys didn't know that, did you? But we have the Facebook group, First the Steve and Crypto Show. Join that. Go to buymeacoffee.com and kick a little something to the show. What's the merch link again?
I'm going to say it because Steve doesn't remember it.
I'll never remember it. I just want to make you say it.
/shop/Steve and Crypto merch.
We just get a lot of fan mail saying, I just love hearing Crypto say the Steve and Crypto merch.
Wait. I'm gonna do what's the AMSR or whatever. /shop.
Oh, that's creepy.
/Steve and Crypto merch. Psst, psst. Hey, you listening? Get closer to your headphones. Shove them in there real good. /shop/Steve and Crypto merch. You know what? You should just tape them.
Creepy. I don't
tape them on your ears and maybe just play this episode and repeat. So then while they're sleeping at night, they'll just hear that. /shop/Steve and Crypto merch. And then they're like, I need to go buy me a t-shirt.
If they tape headphones to their ears, how are they going to pull the t-shirt over their head? So go get a t-shirt or find us for some stickers. Then we have the Patreon page, patreon.com/Steve Crypto. Those are all the awesome ways to support the Steve and Crypto Show. And next week, the Halloween episode will come out, and you guys will be amazed by our awesome, supersized, action-packed, star-studded, spectacular, spooktacular.
It's a spooktacular. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Some of you people hate that word, so we're going to throw it in anyway.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. I'm Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo. We'll catch you on the next one. 97. Halloween Spooktacular.
Spooktacular.